How to create workflows. I'm going to do a little demo for you here of creating a workflow. For me, this is going to be based on when somebody is requesting a custom quote for a custom service. So I've gone into Sites and Courses, clicked on Forms Builder, and I've created a little form so I can get some information from people so that I can then provide a custom quote. So pull over the fields that you need. You can see here I've got custom fields so that I can get specific information from my leads to be able to then give them an accurate quote. So you simply go into adding your custom fields. If I go into fields over here, is it because I've not clicked on here? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm losing my mind today. Click on custom fields and scroll down to the bottom, and then you can add as many custom fields as you like. All right, so I've now got my custom fields, I've got my form, and we are going to now, first of all, add this form to my web page so that people can request their custom quote. And then from there, I'm going to create a workflow that will then trigger a number of tasks to be assigned to staff members. Of course, if you don't have staff, you would be assigning these tasks to yourself so that you can just start creating a really solid administration process that's fully automated behind the scenes, whether you're giving those administration tasks to you or to somebody else. So we are going to need these links in just a moment. So go to integrate form. You're going to have a link there, and you may also want an embed code. I'm just going to pick the link for now. So just grab your link, and you can go and open that in another tab in a moment. And what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to add this form to my website. So again, Sites and Courses. This time we're going to click on Websites. And I've now got my Techmatics site that's live here, and I'm going to find the page that has the get a quote on it. So just bear with me while I find that. So I've got the page here that I want to now add that get a custom quote to. So let's open up our page. I always like to open mine in a separate tab just so that I can flick back and forth to the main dashboard if I need to. So once we get our page builder open, we can start adding that button. So here I've got my very basic setup and migration services. I'm going to call this get a, standard. Actually, let's change that. No one wants to buy something, do they? Your whole business to Techmatics for you. That's what people want. And then I'm going to add a little subheading. Okay. Pick from our standard migration service or get a quote for a custom service. Okay, so I've got my information. I'm just going to add a little bit of spacing. So that will be a margin. Let's add that there. Done for you, migration service. I'm just going to change my wording on here. Alrighty, I've just added in just what they get in the standard service. And over here, I'm going to add a button for booking a custom service. So I'm going to press add. I'm going to add a little headline here. And I'm going to say, get a quote for a custom service. Alrighty, and then I'm simply going to add a big old button right there, and we can change the color of this to suit whatever our branding is. So I'm just going to switch that to a nice dark blue. I am going to press margin top, so I've got a bit of space down there. And I am then on this button, this is where we need to redirect them to the form that we just made. So I have got this form here for them to get their quote. So I'm going to grab that URL and I'm going to go back to my page. In the button area, scroll all the way down and it will say button actions. This is what do we want to happen when someone clicks on that button, and we want to send them to your URL. or we could even actually go to a form sometimes directly in here. I can't see a form. No, I can't. So go to a URL, and we are then going to paste in that link to our form. I always do open in a new tab. So that now will mean that when someone clicks that button, they're going to be sent to, under button actions, that URL. And that URL is the form that they need to fill in to get their quote. So I'm going to press save on that. That's now our little form area completed. I'm also going to just update my main website page. So if you bear with me 1 second, I'm going to just do that live on the video just so you guys can, again, watch. The more you see, the easier this becomes. I want to also make sure that on my main services page, I also have this button. So I'm going to go and find my services and support page, which is right here, edit in a new tab. And from here, I'm going to just go in again and add that same button for people to get a custom quote. Okay, so I've got my services page here, and I am going to simply add in, oh, we've got a whole other section here, so let's do that. Headline, I'm going to pop in get a custom quote. Get a custom quote for migration. Then we're going to go. We can copy this button, actually. Let's copy that because I like that. It's got a nice little outline on it. So I'm just going to pull that down under there, and we're going to click on that button. First of all, we're going to change the wording. So you need to click on the button, scroll all the way down to the left, and this button's going to say, get a custom quote. Then, again, what do we want to do? We want to go to a website URL, and we're going to send them to the form that we just created, open in a new tab, and we're going to press save. So now we should wait for it to update over here, and then you can go to preview, and this will take you to what your clients and customers will see when they go to this page. So now you can see that we've got get migrated or get a custom quote. If they click on get a custom quote, a new window opens, and boom, there's the quote request form. All right, so now we've updated our pages. Now we need to create the actual workflow automation. So I'm going to go into automated workflows, and I'm going to create a brand new workflow, but make sure you put everything in the right folders, okay? Creating folders is going to be very, very helpful for you when you have lots and lots of workflows in the future. Now, because this relates to my setup and migration services, I'm going to go into that folder, and this is where I'm going to go and create my new workflow inside this folder so that things just stay nice and organized. And for me, just the way I've numbered things, I number all of my different workflows. That's a workflow, that's a separate workflow, that's a separate workflow, but they all have something to do with my migration or setup services. And I number all of my migration and setup services as number 4. No particular reason why, that's just the number that came along when I started this. Right, so I'm going to press create a workflow, and then I'm going to start from scratch. You must click on that, make sure it's marked in blue, press create a new workflow. And then from there, we can actually go in and start our workflow. First thing we're going to do, name it, all right? So I'm going to call this 4 again, so I know it fits into my workflows. And I'm going to call this custom quote for migration service requested. The more detailed you are, oh gosh, it's got my capital letters on wrong. I'm going to leave it as is anyway for the sake of this. The more detail you have, the better your naming is, the less of a mess you're going to get yourself into. New trigger. Now our trigger is going to be that the form has been filled in. Okay, so form has been submitted, and then it will say, well, what form has been submitted? We need to actually tell it what form. So we're going to click on filters, and it will be the form is, and then the form is, and I'm going to find my migration custom quote form. All right, so you must first of all go, what is it? Form submitted, request for a custom quote for migration. Keep your labeling and your naming nice and detailed. What form is it? That form there. Save trigger. Ooh, it's too many words, so let's do form. There we go. Save trigger. Now, here's the trigger. Somebody has requested a quote. through that particular form. What happens next? So next you might like to, for instance, add a tag, add a contact tag. So the tag is, I'm going to say, client has requested a quote for custom migration services. Okay, done. Add a new tag. There it is. Save action. Now we are going to send a, how should we do this? Let's send a notification, send an internal notification, type of notification. I'm going to send an email, and I'm going to send it from Sarah Cordner, Techmatics, and it's going to go from me. Let's just call this a location email. So you can go to contact, and where's email address? Oh, there it is, email address. And that means it's from me to, and it's going to go an assigned user, particular user, and the user is going to be Febby, and the subject is please send quote for migration service. Boom. I'm not going to have a template email for this. I'm just going to go, hi Febby, this client has requested a quote for a migration service. Please send an email from 0. Now I also have, send an email, send an invoice. Send an invoice. Okay, I'm going to pause this. Now, to make this easier for this staff member, or indeed if this was even myself, right? If you don't have staff, the user would be you, all right? You'd be assigning this to yourself. What I want to do is actually want to include the form entries inside the email, so that this member of staff, or myself, if that's me, isn't going to even have to go trailing through all of these clients' records. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add custom values, which will actually pull in the actual answer that that individual has provided. So let me go to custom values, and we are going to go to, and I believe it's in contact, custom fields, and then it's going to show all of your custom fields that you've ever created. So I will need to just check back on my form to see which fields I need, but I think most of them were how many. So yeah, how many calendar appointments do you need creating? That's actually going to fill in the form. So how many calendar appointments? Boom. So that's going to tell the client. These are all the things that basically, not the client, it's going to tell my staff member what the field entries were on the form without them even having to go to look for the form. So again, I'm going to go to contact, scroll down, go to custom fields. And again, I'm going to go and find all of those fields that were from the form. How many email automations do you need? Oh no, just add that there. How many email automations? Boom. And then again, I'm just going to go in, pause this, and add in all of my other fields. Alrighty, so I've now finished off this message, and you'll see I've said this particular client has requested a quote for migration services. I've put the contact first name, last name, and email, so that will pre-fill with those details each time this form is filled in and this automation is sent. So that makes it a dynamic, automated fill-in of information. I've popped in some instructions for her just so that she always has those there. And then I've actually pulled in every single piece of custom information from that person's form so that Febby has this directly in her email, or of course me, if this was going to be me completing this. So I'm now going to press save action. So now we've got someone fills in the request for a quote form, they get tagged, they get given an internal notification. I might actually move them to a particular pipeline stage as well. So let's type in opportunity. They are going to move to the pipeline, which is my leads pipeline, and they're going to go to the stage called migration services, and opportunity name is going to be the contact's full name right there. And this one's going to be called, I'm going to actually just leave that, lead value. I am going to, the lead value means what are they worth. Now for a custom quote, this is pretty hard. So I'm just going to average everybody at around $500, just to have an average. And status is that they are an open lead. All right. So it means that they haven't bought yet, but they are open. Press save action. So, okay, they request a quote, they get a tag added, there's an email notification added to my team member, then move to a particular opportunity. I'm also going to add a task just so this person can't forget. So I'm going to press task, add a task. The title of the task is please send a custom quote to, and then I'm going to type in the contact's full name. So it will actually then pre-fill, please send a custom quote to Sarah Cordner, for instance. Please see email sent to you with details for the custom quote to be sent from 0. And I'm going to assign this specifically to Febby. But again, if this was to myself, I'd be assigning this to myself if I was the only person in the business. When is this task due? I'm going to give them 24 hours maximum to do quotes. So we've got a tag. They've got a task added. That task will now show up on their tasks list, the task dashboard, task manager. And we've moved them to a new stage in our sales pipeline. How good is that? Now we could even add in an email to go to this client. So let's do an email. So we're going to send an email. It's going to be from, I'm going to make this from Team Techmatics because it might not be me. And this is going to be support@techmatics.com. My keyboard has gone upside down for some reason. Subject, your quote for migration to Techmatics is coming. And now basically we can just pop in our email. So I'm going to say hi, custom value, contact, first name. So that will pre-fill their first name. And I'm just going to finish the email here. All right, so I've just put in hi first name, put in my email, and from us, lots of love, save action, bye. And now I'm going to save. So there we go. They request a quote. They receive an email saying your quote's on its way. They get tagged. There's an internal notification that goes to Febby to tell her to please send the quote. That's also added as a task so she can't forget it and it can't get missed. And they're added to the new stage in the pipeline. That, my friends, is a full flow of adding a form to a web page, which then leads to a set of actions behind the scenes. Talk about automating your life, getting yourself organized, and really making your life stress-free. That, my friends, is the power of tech. And of course, there's no better power of tech than Techmatics itself. If you need any help, let us know. Support@techmatics.com. Happy teching.